3 games into the 2017 season, and the Dallas Cowboys' defensive line appears to be legit. Defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence leads the NFL in sacks with 6.5. Seems like it's more. In fact, the Cowboys' defense has recorded 11 sacks in its first 3 games. What took so long? Law might be the missing war daddy this defense so desperately needs. He sacked Cardinals quarterback Carson Palmer 3 times and pressured him throughout the entire game. It's hard to believe the Cowboys' defense recorded 6 sacks last week. As good as the Cowboys' defensive line has been playing, it still needs improvement in one key area. If they can improve in this area, the Cowboys could have a top 10 defense. This area of concern is the secondary. Upgrading the secondary. I'm very fond of Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Orlando Scandrick, Chidobe Awuzie, Xavier Woods, Jeff Heath, Kevin Frazier, and Byron Jones. They're all playing solid football. However, they need an upgrade in this area. The best way to upgrade the secondary is to sign Antonio Cromartie. I know I'm in the minority with signing this veteran, but I'll explain my reasons. To be fair to Dallas's secondary, they've played fairly decent in 2 games, except for the game against the Denver Broncos, where the secondary resembled the awful and historic one of 2013. That's the season where Dallas's defense set franchise lows in every defensive category imaginable. As I watched Dallas's secondary play against the Arizona Cardinals on Monday night, future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald put on a show and had a field day against Dallas's secondary. Fitzgerald had 149 receiving yards with 13 receptions and 1 touchdown. Once upon a time, Fitzgerald was an elite receiver, constantly putting up big numbers, and was one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best. But he's not anymore. In Monday night's game, I thought I was watching vintage Fitzgerald of 2008, in his prime, dominating defensive backs in convincing fashion. Fitzgerald is still a good receiver, but there's no excuse for how he dominated Dallas's secondary. It's one thing for Fitzgerald to have a good game, because he's a decent receiver, but it's entirely different when he dominates like he's the best receiver in the game. The missing piece. That's why Dallas needs to sign a savvy veteran like Cromartie. Cromartie can still play at a high level, create turnovers and cover the opposing team's best receivers. Cromartie has that it factor, meaning he can take an interception to pay dirt. I'm not saying Cromartie is Deion Sanders or anything like that. I'm saying this defense can benefit from his services. Besides, Cromartie is similar to Broncos corner Aqib Talib, and we witnessed what Talib did against Dallas. These two might not be dominant corners anymore, but they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. A player like Cromartie can cover Fitzgerald and keep him in check, meaning Fitzgerald would have performed more like a man ready for retirement than the best wideout in the game. Since Dallas will face some of the best receivers this season, why not sign Cromartie to make the secondary better? Dallas's defensive backfield is a combination of talented rookies and experience. The experience is coming from Scandrick, Jones, Heath Limited, and Nolan Carroll, who is in concussion protocol. Carroll looked good against the New York Giants, but the Broncos reminded us of Carroll's well-documented shortcomings. Because of Carroll's shortcomings in legal matters charged with a DUI, Dallas should cut ties with Carroll and bring in Cromartie. It's worth it, because Cromartie is a seasoned veteran who can flat-out play, showcasing his blocking and coverage skills. Further, Cromartie will bring his leadership and mentoring traits to the youngsters. With Cromartie and Scandrick leading the way, Lewis and the rest of the young guns will only get better. With Dallas's front four wreaking havoc on opposing quarterbacks, the secondary will benefit by forcing turnovers or just making a key play. It only gets tougher, but what happens when the secondary faces the likes of Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, Amari Cooper and other elite receivers? Will there be another clinic put on by a future Hall of Famer? Or will Dallas's defense get a bunch of sacks and save the day? Who knows? But to avoid that suspense, go ahead and sign Cromartie before you get embarrassed again, especially in the playoffs, because Cowboys Nation does not want to see that again.